Whoa. Good to see you again, black belts. Let's get bowed in. Ready? Jump. All right, so we do our best thinking when our blood is pumping, and so we're going to get right into a little bit of that. So we want to get into a fighting stance.
Yes.
All right. We did the punch set last time, so we're going to do a kick set this time. And you guys are all familiar with how to go ahead and kick into multiple directions. So I know you can throw a kick 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep a nice clean north, south, east, and west. So that's what we're going to do with our basic kicks, but we're going to add a little spin onto it after we get going a little bit. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to go through a regular kick set, and we're going to go rights and lefts. Okay, so if we're just doing the snaps, then we kick. Ready? Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. Other way. 2, 3, 4. Switch with the round. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just switch. 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch that stance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch it up again. In. There you go. And then switch it up again. In, going out. 3, 4. Switch it up again. Out. Going in. Uh-oh. There we go. Other side. 2, 3, 4, and the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side. 1, 2, 3. Does that help? It helps us. All right, good work. Whoa. Nice job.
That was horrible, sir.
That was horrible? That was better. Okay. Put up. Oh, let's use this board.
Say, sir.
Oh, and good job, guys. Okay. 4 sides. All right. When we were kids, we used to draw these because once you learned it, it was fun. 6 sides. Now we got this one and that one. Okay. So you got middle kicks. They'll go in all these directions. Your high kick and your stomp. You ready for this? Come on out. All right, man. What's your highest kick?
Roundhouse.
The round? Okay. So we're going to go 4 directions. High round. Turn it down. Ground round.
Say, sir.
Don't hit the ground.
Say, sir.
Okay. Let's take our time. Let's take a look first. Okay. Right. Goes once around the park, just like usual.
Say, sir.
So a middle round, middle round, middle round, middle round, high round, down to the ground. Other leg. Okay, take your time. Middle round, middle, 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 high round, and to the ground. Okay? That adds those other 2, all right? Which makes the full cue, and we call that the ropo. Okay, this is 6 sides instead of 4. Okay, you guys probably recognize this part of it. Rub. Okay, like in Roku Shaku. All right, or Ichi san. You guys know that bit? All right, 6 for the Roku. Okay, so let's choose any other kick. Any other kick. What do you like?
Into out, sir.
Into out. Okay. Into out 4 directions. Let's see what we get. All right. Into out middles. Keep up, guys. Middle and middle. High as you can go. And what do they do when they're on the ground? Other leg. Into out middle, 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 middle. 1. High up in the sky. And 1 when they're on the ground. Okay. So have a little bit of fun with this. You're going through your kicks. You've got a lot of time on your hands right now. And so what we want to do is we want to work. Get up, get that blood pumping, run a set, relax for a while, come back a little bit later, do it. Instead of saying, I already worked out today. Well, maybe work out a little bit of less time, more times a day. And see whether or not that'll keep the blood pumping a little bit, keep you sparking if you're trying to go through this stuff and not go back crazy, locked up in your cave. Okay? All right. As usual, we have to do our splits.
Sure, sir.
All right, so let's go ahead and stretch it out.
Okay.
All right, and again, toes up, right? So I drop down into this thing. Don't try to lay the toes down. Put yourself right up on top of it. Feeling good. If you got to use the fist, hold yourself up or your hands, whatever it takes. Okay, so you got your set. There you go. Sit down, stretch. Real nice, real nice. And then back up. And then multiples on this and stretch. Exhaust the muscle when you do it over and over. And then it can't hold the tension. And when that happens, you get more of the split that you're after. And if you only do a couple, then you won't be able to get that. So let's just go through all three one more time. So again, you're just putting up stress. We kick, kick, kick. Wear those legs out a little bit. Then stretch. Oh, much, much nicer. Okay, and you can push. She's pushing, but don't bounce. Don't try and put weight on it and then just let the weight drop down onto those tendons and ligaments, because something might go boing. That's never good. Okay, that's it. Good, 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 good. Enough's enough. And then the long. It's the same thing. It's by going through the repetitions, you'll achieve that tired muscle. That tired muscle then is, it's just going to go ahead and have to yield for you. And so then that will give you that split. So the black belt challenge during COVID-19 would be get your split. Force feed yourself a split. Just force feed yourself a split. Don't be like, oh, no, I've already done my splits today. I did my splits last week. 2 weeks ago, I did a split. No, do your splits several times a day. You're locked up. Now's a great opportunity to get that split you've been after. So if you didn't get it in the first 3 years of training from white to black, this would be an opportunity to go ahead and take care of that. Okay? All right, very, very good. All right, ready?
Okay.
We're going to philosophize a little bit.
Awesome.
Let's philosophize. We're going to start our philosophizing in the Taeguk set. And then, of course, what I'll do in the Taeguk set, I'll expect you to transmute into the black belt set. All righty? So that means you need to know the representations of your forms. So we're going to go ahead and, since Mr. Eric likes to face this way, we'll do our form this way. Okay? We're going to take a look at Taeguk 1. It's going to be a standard Taeguk 1, all Taekwondo style. All right? With the just snap it in, hits and kicks. Typical Taekwondo stance. No additional artistic flair.
Okay.
All right? I just want to see your form as it is. Now, your form representation here is heaven and light. So first thing, let's just take a look at the form. You guys, you all familiar with this. So go ahead, pound it out with Miss Joanna, and we'll all get done at the same time. Ready? Hey, there's no count. Just go ahead. Come on, guys. See, the pace is already set. You should already know how fast you're moving. Very good. Very good. All right, hopefully your Taeguk 1 is just as strong and stellar as that. All right, so let's take a look at this heaven and light aspect. All right, when Sensei Shanks taught me this form and he said, is this a heaven style form? I want you to do this form like God does form. I want you to do this form so it is so majestic that everybody else just has to sit down. That this is your homage to that there are greater forces that brought you here. So I want to talk about the heaven and light part of it, all right? Because a lot of times when we focus on those things as a concept of heaven or a concept of light, and you maybe have experienced more of one than the other. All right, let's talk about the absence of those things. So instead of having a form that I've suggested to you over the years that would represent hell and darkness, and we would not practice a form like that, we want to understand heaven in terms of hell being absence of heaven, and darkness is an absence of light. Instead of a thing in of itself, what it is you had something good that kept just dwindling away and dwindling away and dwindling away. And so you lost your concept of heaven. You lost your concept of the divine. You lose your concept of reverence. And bit by bit, you're just down here on the earth fighting it out on a day-to-day with the rest of us. And the loss of that connection is terrible. So, you know, understanding again that you came from something stronger, you want to put that in that form. When I talk to you about artistic style, that's something that you're doing on yourself. And there's also pay it back. All right, you receive something, and I want you to go ahead and do a form that pays it back. So just like, again, if you were basking in the light and as the sun goes down, you lose more and more and more and more until you're finally in the dark and you say, you know what, it's time to pack up our beach stuff and go home. There's no more sunshine. All right, darkness is more of an absence of light than a thing in and of itself. All right, so I want you guys to do the form this time, and I want you to think, I've been given an awesome gift and I'm about to give it back. I'm going to do the best that I can to honor it. Okay, have you got that mindset?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see what Miss Joanna's got. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Come on, black belts, keep up. Yeah. All right, good. So again, now what you see is something different than the initial textbook form that she just showed you, and something different from the artistic styles that you've been working on at home. What you got here is she said, I want you to put this concept into the form. It comes directly from the representation of the form, and show that you have got that you are thankful for what you got in that, just that one set. Okay, so think on these things. We're just going to move right on up. We're going to move up to number 2. All right, take it to a joyfulness form. So based on our previous discussion, it's not that we want to practice a form of sadness. There's plenty of that going around, okay? We want to think of sadness as an absence of happiness. Instead of being a thing that has strength in of itself, what happened is that it's a manifestation of the weakness in the happiness side. And so what we want to do is we want to strengthen that happiness side. We want to be able to pull on it when we have to. When the times are hard, and times are hard right now, you got to find a reason to be happy. There's a lot of them. You are not in the jaws of a lion. If you're getting chewed up right now, you can be sad. All right, but that's not what it is. So let's again take a look at 2 different views of this form. The first just being textbook. This is how it looks in Taekwondo. Take it 2. All right, ma'am? Side kick, high punch, right, black belts?
Yeah.
And back at you, and give yourself a hand. Wonderful. Take your 3. Take 2. Okay, but we just talked about the happiness aspect. And so, like we just paid out the heaven aspect of Take It 1, the joyfulness aspect of Take It 2 is what really needs to be front and center in this form. So again, do you feel better when you're happy than when you're not? Probably, okay? And we even know that there's health benefits to that kind of thing. Laughter is the best medicine. And sometimes you just have to have a good time in the face of it. Because if you didn't laugh, you'd cry, right? We've heard that one all too. So a lot of times, those little cliches are there because they actually hit the nail right on the head. Ah, all right, no pun intended. Are you ready for a joyful Take It 2, man? Okay, and at home, joyful Take It 2, no matter how rotten your day is, no matter how long you've been, trapped inside, time to just force that joyfulness, pull it out, control it, use it to your own benefit. Say, I am sick and tired of not feeling great. I'm going to feel great right now, at least for the duration of a Take It 2. All right, man, inspire them at home. Inspire them, please. Look, a smile.
Yeah.
Hey, another So then, you know, those lower takes in place. And I've said it many times, the basics are the secrets. So don't ever leave those behind and go, that was an orphan. I'm working on take 65, so I can't work on take 2 anymore. It's not as interesting. No. Anything that you can pull out of these lower forms and bring into the higher form is going to be a benefit for both of those forms, and certainly the benefit for you as the one in the middle that's keeping control of all these different things. Okay? All right, last one we're going to do today is fire and sun. All righty? And fire and sun, again, we take a look at the negative side of it. I don't ever look for a form that has to do with, you know, being cold and dreary and dark and all that kind of stuff. So we want to drop that stuff out. Okay? When that sun hits you on these days when it's overcast, that's one thing. But you've been sitting in the house, look out the window, and all of a sudden the sun comes out. And you see everything gets nice and bright. And you're almost like, I want to go out there and stand in it. So that way it shines on me and I'm going to get that benefit, that interaction between you and the rest of the universe. Remember, it flows through you. You benefit from that sunshine touching you. You benefit from fixing that moment in time and space in your own mind. The only one that gets to see the universe that way at that time. It's just you. You can't have your perspective shared by someone else. Okay? Fire and sun. So if there was an absence of fire, well, there you go. Fire produces energy. It's a visible form of energy if you think about it. Fire is not liquid. It's not solid. It's not gas. It's a very special stuff. You are seeing visible energy. And so what we want is we want that fire to be coming right off of you. The energy that's inside you almost visible. Okay? And shine that out the way the sun reaches out and touches all of us out here every day, and we're thankful for it. And so again, you're paying it back a little bit, fire and sun. So let's take a look at 2 aspects. Number 1, take 3. Make sure you got all the moves right. This is how it's done, Taekwondo style. How does that form look, ma'am? Keep up, guys. Textbook style. Good. How do you look? Pretty good. Breaking it out. Okay. All right. Take 3 again. You're doing some energy cultivation. That's a great place to start. Jump right into that take 3. Get your fire and sun rocking and rolling. Then you take that energy and you move it on to the other things that you're studying. And so again, you can use these just the way that you can use a cup of coffee in the morning, or the way you go out and make sure that you jog before you went to work, or whatever it is that you do to get yourself started. Okay. So now we want to do is we want to have a representation of your inner fire and sun just coming off. I want to see it in rays. Can you do it?
Yes, sir.
All right. At home, get your mind right. Think to yourself, I'm not just cranking out take 3. I want this to shine. I want my neighbors to stop what they're doing and look out their windows and go, what's going on in that house? Is this lighting up? Let that be you. Are you ready, man?
Yes, sir.
Hey. Come on, guys, keep it up. There you go. Do it like that. Just do it like that. Did you do it like that? Okay, you already did. Well done. All right. Doesn't mean you can't use some reps, though. Because, again, what we're trying to do is to keep the blood pumping, keep that brain firing, keep our martial arts just as sharp and polished as it's ever been. So when hard times come to martial artists grab them, fold them into something else that they can use, and put them to work. Instead of letting them beat us down, just saying, hey, look, I got the Kokoro and the endurance, I can take it. There's more to what we're doing than that. All right, we have to enjoy it. And so even though we're in this situation, we're practicing, we want to enjoy what we're practicing, have some fun with it, think about it as we go. All right, so without doing additional take-it forms, then obviously if you're going to think about a thunder form, the thunder form brings out your sound. Thunder form, which has the 3 key eyes in there, is allowing you to really exercise that ki. We've talked about that just a little bit, but you can't have a ki that doesn't match the rest of what you're doing. If you're going to have a fire form, you have a fire ki. So you never shortchange yourself on the ki and pull back the power from it and just kind of acknowledge that there's a ki in the form there. Ki, okay, and then you keep going backwards. I'm doing some great moves with ki. So thunder brings that out. Otherwise, then you would live in a world of no sound. The absence of sound. That means no music, guys. And so there's a lot of things. No conversations between the people that you love. No sound. So probably not a good thing because, again, our senses are sources of enjoyment, not just a way for us to discern what's going on in our world. We make music. We sing. There's a lot of things that we do with sound that are beyond just the utilitarian. And so when we are getting into thinking about Take It 4, just think about what the representation is. What would it be in the absence of that? What would be in the absence of wind? What would that level of stillness be like? The absence of water. How dry? Dry as the dirt on the surface of the moon. Oh my goodness gracious, no. All right, we are dependent. With no water, we have no life. All right, and as you moved along and you said, then there were the challenges and the obstacles, like what we see in Take It 7. All right, and then ultimately the understanding that where we are really always bound is here to earth. All right, and when you talk about them now, it's like, one of these days we'll fly to Mars. Okay, well, you sign up for that because I'm going to stay right here. All right, doesn't look like there's really a whole lot of fun going on Mars, and it looks like the trip is a drag both ways. So what you got here is awesomeness. And remember then the progression, when you started Taeguk, you started in a heaven symbol, and then you went to an earth symbol. The Father broadcasting and the Mother receiving. From heaven, it shines down the force of creation on earth. And now this is what you have, and this is your playground. This is your breadbasket. This is where you get to go ahead and experience this entire dimension of your life, of your existence. Okay, so as you go through the 8 Taeguks, think about the absence of those things. Those of you who are way up in the big stripes up there, you've had the Jite form. We talk about action through non-action, and that earth sustains you simply by being here, whereas you do not sustain earth by being here. Outside of, you do fix a place and time that is unique in only your mind, because you cannot share your perspective with another person. Only you experience the universe the way you experience it. And that helps it to be a real thing. So I want you to think now about the representation of your highest form. What is that? Oh, and there's so many of you out there, so many different representations, and what you need to do is to go, let's honor the representation of the form and the expression of that form. And so then that will be your homework for the form portion. That I want you to show me that you understand the representation and that you're somehow physically expressing that when you execute the form. All right, have some fun with that. Also, you may want to do a couple of tries and then do your video after you've polished it up a little bit, bring it out. I will tell you this from looking at the videos, make sure your stance is there. Make sure that you did not forget your stance. Also, some of you guys have been having fun. You're working out in your uniform. You're working out in your jeans and your shoes. And some of you are working out inside. Some of you are working out outside. So you may want to try that. Say if every day I have to go to work in a suit and tie, maybe I should practice in a suit and tie. If I'm doing it with my wingtips on and they're all polished up, maybe I should be doing it with my wingtips on, all polished up. If I'm jeans and t-shirt guy, do it with that on. If you wear working boots or combat boots, put those bad boys on and do your form. Okay? So that way you've tried it in those different venues. Or you say, no, I got the rest of the summer off. I don't want to see your form in your bathing suit. All right, don't do that. You can do some other variations because it teaches you how it is like to move and try to do your techniques with those clothes on and with those shoes on. And if you're outside, and I know many of you are outside, that how does it feel with all that gear and an uneven surface? When you get an opportunity to work forms and cardinal entries under those due circumstances that we don't produce for you here in the dojo. Opportunity, instead of going, oh man, I'm locked up. So I'm going to put this to work. I'm going to make something awesome out of it. Okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch over. So you got your form homework now. And we're going to finish up on our cardinal set. There was a couple of things that we didn't do. So we had the takubi was where we left off last time. All right, so as we go out of the takubis, then we get into the tachis. All right, so on a tachi, you got a great tachi roll, man? Okay. All right, on a tachi, one of the things that happens is that I start this technique a lot of times in a tie-up situation, which means I'm holding another person's body, and when I come in short step, long step, I'm able to use that person to keep my can from hitting the ground too hard. All right? Otherwise, you just have to use that strength that you developed when you were doing the roller ring when you were a kid and skating on one foot. You were down here. You know, remember that? You were doing that? Maybe not? Okay. Don't let your can hit the ground like that. So you're going to be really unhappy. It's got that purple spot on there. So you're going to have to be able to keep that under control. That knee is tucked in. It doesn't need to be flat on the floor like a figure four, but the foot is tucked all the way up to the knee. This one's up and the other one's out. This is for them to fall over. So you got your guy, you're ready to turn them. So when I'm starting this entry, I'm going to have you started at the tie-up. Short, long, right on down. Okay? From right here, you complete the throw. I don't need you to do that, but I don't want to see your arms got stretched up, right? You brought the guy down with you. And so let's go ahead and take a look at those. All right, we're just going to do one facing this way and one facing that way. So they go both sides. Okay? All right, so here you go. Tachi entry. Off the tie-up. Step, step, right on down. Okay, and then just starting from the other end. Imagine your tie-up. You're in a kumiuchi and step, step, right on down. Okay? All right, so if this is going to be a problematical to do with no partner, it over compresses the knee, something like that, do not injure yourself trying to do this entry with nobody there. I would consider this one to be the hardest one to do without a partner. Okay, so if you're going to be practicing the Tachi entry, then please, let's be careful, mindful of what's happening with your knee. All right, so it's got to support that weight all the way down and take that full compression. All righty? Then the other one would be over the top, right? Okay, so I Tachi over the top, obviously, again, if I'm starting to tie up and I'm going short and long, when I'm ready to sit on this one, this is going to stay up. I'm not going to put that back down, and I'm just going to bring it right back down and throw my guy, right? And then come back around. So off the tie up here, short, long, places it on them, throw them, all right? Now if I threw my guy over there, I would come back over here. Doing a regular Tachi roll, you come back to start. Either way will be fine. If you're going to go ahead and do this one, remember, your knee has to be able to handle that weight change. And if that's going to be hard on you or cause an injury to the knee, don't do this. Wait till you got a partner to throw around. Okay? All right, last though then. Can you do this one?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go ahead and see the Tachi with the over the top. Boop. Throws. And again, off they go. You don't have to stand back up and face the opposite direction. They did go that way. Right? And just switching sides, going the other direction. And over so, you don't need any practice on your Tachi rolls, right? So, Tachis. We talked just a little bit ago when they were doing the demonstration class. If you're doing rolling techniques at home, you do not have a mat. And so you, again, need to be aware of that because all those spots where the bone comes close to the surface, those get found when you do rolls on hard surfaces. Now, you could put a bunch of stuff down to try to make it more puffy, but again, this is an opportunity for you to find out how to fine-tune that roll. And if you're fine-tuning that roll, one of the things you're going to be wanting to do is to keep off of those bony spots because that hurts, these little purple marks. So as you're figuring that stuff out, this is another point at which you can use that Coke row and say, all right, I took a couple little bites, but I fine-tuned the roll. So now when I roll on a hard surface, that's not a problem for me. Okay? So you guys that are like, you know, out there ready to really rock and roll, you can do them in the driveway or something like that. You can do whatever it is that you're comfortable with. If you're going to do the Tachis, though, I want you to go ahead and go for it. If you're not going to do them, then that's okay. I'll understand why they're not in your homework set. All right, last, though, then would be the Zoie. Okay? You guys have been working on Zoie since you learned a double knife hand. When you learn to go this way and then that way, then that was the setup catch for this Zoie also. All right, and then as you're moving along and you just start to understand the brush and strike up the take it for swallow form chop, same kind of feeling. The arms are going in this direction because they are allowing and aligning with the incoming attack. It's after that point that you got your catch as you bring this around. You're going to need a heaven to earth and a heaven to earth in order to make this Zoie work. So as the punch comes in, it's that double knife hand brush essentially that's going to make this work out. When I see that, I want to see the chop and the chop are what is actually addressing the incoming blow. So if we come over to our orange lines,
Okay.
this is when we can use those again. All right, we can go a long ways this time. So again, you're standing out here on a punch line, and as a punch is coming in, as you're coming around with your chop, then obviously you're going to be moving, so you're off of that punch line. And catching that, so that punch is coming right down nice and close to you, and bringing your catch around and then flipping it so that your hand then comes back up onto the top of the elbow. So if you're just punching this way, then as I come in and around, then we're going to want that heaven earth. Okay, all right, and then you can promenade or do the do-si-do or the star too if you want. Come on, and she brings it in, boop, right in here. Let this flip. This hand's going to be in the elbow position already. Let that flip around and boop, there it is. Shake it, shake it, shake it. That's why I say always shake up the bottle, right? So get your heaven and earth here, pull it behind and flip it. That's where you're going to get it again. If you wanted to go to earth, elbow needs to point to earth. If you want to just fall on her backside, then you point it more at an angle or at a horizon, okay, which is not going to give you the smash that you're looking for in a Zoie. So it needs to have that. So as you're coming in off the punch line, catch that, and I want to see that you've got that heaven to earth position. This would be to the end of the catch. At this point now, you're actually executing a Zoie. All right, let's take a couple look at these. All right, and again, right down the punch line. So, you know, again, I'll put my back to the camera. We're in here, you're looking at that orange line is where that punch went. Okay, all right, so we're just looking at the entry. And there it is. Okay, so we got a nice stack right there. All righty. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do a couple of those.
Okay.
All right, so then in this case, one more time.
Yes, sir.
It's right there. That would be the equivalent of the atemi. So let me just go ahead and rotate you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as the punch is coming down, there's no kick or slap or poke in the eye or call them a name. Instead, you pull them off balance. That's the atemi. When they realize that they are flying forward further than that punch would have brought them, then you've now taken control of their mind. Because they are worried right there, I'm going to go flying and hit the ground. Oh, I better do something. She's like, oh, no, we changed our mind about that, though. And we're going the other way. So then that's that big surprise that comes out in Zoie. All right, but there's no atemi because the pull forward to bring the person into the off-balance position is going to take that atemi's job and take care of it for you. So you have to get a hold of this thing. You can't just brush it. If you did, just do a brush. Okay, if you did, then you just needed to make sure that you were ready to rock and roll because they're not going to lose it. They're going to be coming right back at you. And that's why you do things like cardinal entry forms so that when the angles change and things all of a sudden have to be a different move, then you're able to just turn whatever direction and do whatever you need to do, whatever timing it takes, whatever distance and angling that you need to apply. And so those cardinal forms that you guys produced, I thought were very powerful because it did bring out that you can go, oh, he's over here now. Oh, they're over here now. Oh, they're over here now. Oh, whatever direction that they came from. Okay? All right? So, right on the line, coming straight down to Mr. Eric. Okay? We're going to just do a quick review because this is going to put these to bed. All right? So, I just want to see one time with awesome timing on the atemi. Kodigaishi 1 entry. Okay. Boom! It's there. Kodigaishi 2 entry. Quick. Look at the atemi. Boom! It's right there. Okay? So just on those two, it's very important. That kick is not after that little tiny pause. All right? On the Onakadaki, look at the speed on the punch. Boom! Bang! It's right there. Okay? Let's go long ways here. All right? When the punch comes out, I'm going to say, boom! As soon as she hits that, that shock is going to push that bicep back. That person's going to be like, oh, my goodness, it wrenched the shoulder. And so when you've got that kind of thing that's going on, you need that punch. They're not going to sit there and hold the punch out waiting for you to punch them in the bicep. All right, so you got to enter and hit it quick as you go. Okay? All right, on the Gansaki. Okay? Again, understanding that off that kick, I'm going to get underneath of that arm. All right, the Shadori. Okay. For some of them on the Shadaris, and I just kind of saw the arms moving, you could see in here, she was just like, bang! Well, I'm going to put that palm right up in your face. All right? If everything else failed in that technique, you got a pie in the face. All right? So, Dari? And we did it off the punch in this particular set. Right? There's the crossover. The hand was up to bring things back down to center. Okay? So let's just keep on moving on to the Hung Yak. The Hung Yak, we noticed that it was trap and then slap, not slap and then trap. If you slap them first, they let go. But again, they're almost at the same time. Almost, but not at the same time. Okay? Takubi, hit that floating rib and put it to the other side of their body. That's what we would like to do, right? Punch that thing. Bam! Again, no delay on the side step to punch. Get that punch in. They move, you punch that daggone rib out. That's what we wanted on that one. Okay? All right? Ready to keep going? Got the Tachi. If you can't do the Tachi again, then okay, we'll wait till you get back here and we'll give you somebody to hold on to. They'll be the breaks. All right, one favorite side and one over the top. Right on down, and they would go whoop, over the leg. On this one, an actual throw off the tie up. Outstanding job, okay? And then last though, we just went over the Zoie catching off the punch, coming down the orange line, sidestep it, and there it is, okay? It's got to be a heaven to earth. Please watch your angle. That will be critical if the hands are not lined up at the end of the Zoie. It is important in order for you to actually get this takedown, all right? You got them all. One last time. Give me a form that doesn't have to follow an eye pattern. It can do anything it wants that incorporates an entry for all, count them, cardinals. If you can't do the Tachi, then do one of the other cardinals twice. All righty? But if you can do the Tachi, then put that Tachi in there so that way you've got representation of all 12 of them and you're able to change directions and angles and timing. One of the things that I'm looking for in these cardinal entries is that I want to see that look on your face that says, that was the punch. I saw the thing, not just like, okay, this one goes like that. Okay, this one goes like that. Okay, this one goes like that. And that's great, that's technical, but I want to see that light behind your eyes that's showing me that you're actually visualizing the attack, the timing of that attack, and so that you're very keen on when you actually pounce on that thing and take custody. All right, so you have got your highest form that is going to show the representation of that form in a joyful, honorable way. I really want to see it. All right, and the other one is all the entries from all your cardinals put together in a pattern of your choice. If you need to, you can represent any one of them more than once in order to get through a form, but at the end of the form that you had represented them all or all of them minus the Tachi. Okay? And then the other thing that I wanted you to take some time and to think about was that when you get a representation for something, and we've discussed this before, there must be an opposite side, just like you have the red and the blue on the flag, so the black and the white of the N and Yo. All right, there's another side of that. Sometimes you can think what the side is. Other times, it may be better if you were to think to yourself, what would the absence of the representation that I do know be? What would that be like? And then, having done that, put that form back to work out on the floor and show an understanding of the representation. Those representations are very, very important. And right now, you got a lot of time to sit around and philosophize. And so you should go back through some of this old material and ask yourself, well, why is it like that? Why do they call it like that? Why do they say those things? Well, there's probably a good reason, because we're not just making it up out of the seat of our pants as we go. A lot of this stuff has been handed down generation after generation after generation. And being able to do it is one thing. Being able to do it with full understanding is a whole different level. All righty? So some of you guys that are 4th and up and you've reached a level of mastery, the last thing I wanted to point out today was that you understand what it is to be a master of something. Once you understand how to be a master of one thing, you understand mastery. It does not mean that you have mastered all things, but it does mean that you have an insight onto what mastery actually involves. Think about when we train with tools. Okay, that Shania right there is just conveniently right there for me to swat you with it. Bring that back on over here. This is what my folks used to tell me. Go out there and see that willow tree? Cut me a switch and bring that back right here. And we're going to have ourselves a talk, right? It's not like that anymore? Too bad. Okay. All right, sometimes then if I'm going to be using a tool in an attack, I may think to myself, look at this. I have a Shania. There's no way that she can live because she doesn't have a Shania. I have a Shania. Let me hold it up and get it charged by lightning. At this point, she would sidekick me about 100 times. I'd be dead with my neck broken just because it's her. So if you take something up into your hand, and I've always said, don't spot focus on this. Don't spot focus on this. So I want you to change it now and think to yourself in terms of, I had a mastery of martial arts in my hand. I don't want you to focus on the martial arts anymore. I want you to focus on the concept of mastery. All righty? You're hearing a lot of things from a myriad of different experts, and everybody thinks they know the right answer. Okay, I think you know the right answer if you would just apply your own mind to it. Don't get caught up in the thing that's in your hand. Don't get caught up on the sparkling jewel and forget about everything else that you're capable of. If I have a knife in my hand, my knees, my elbows, my bite is just as bad as this blade any day, and I don't focus on the knife. All right? I don't necessarily want you to focus on what somebody else says and goes, this is the truth. What I want you to do is to remember that you are a master and a genius in your own right, and make up your own mind about all the things that are going on in your life. All right? You've come to this school, and you know the big lesson is think for yourself. And that on the other side, to remember that in this place, you are a free person, and other people do not get to tell you what to do, because other people in this country are not born above you like kings and queens. All right? You are your own king. You are your own queen, and you rule your own kingdom. And you need to do that with a clear, informed head. So think for yourself and have a lot of fun. I gave you some thinking exercises this week. I'd love to see some videos that got rays of that inspiration just shining right off of them. It was like when you saw Miss Joanna doing those forms. It was outstanding. Okay, so I'll look forward to seeing your videos, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Question?
Are you okay with doing the Tachi entry off a punch with the knee with no drop?
Yes. Yeah, so those of you who can catch a Tachi off a punch, I'll go ahead and take your Tachi right off the punch. You don't have to start in a tie-up position. Okay, and I can actually take those variations on other cardinals also. If you would like to visualize a different type of attack, and you were able to slap that cardinal on that attack, then feel free to do that. Okay, largely I'll be able to see that. If for some reason I can't, then in your feedback you may hear questions. Any more?
And then just, are you okay with doing the knee for the Tachi, just not dropping?
Yes. That'll be just fine. If you want to enter and just show that the knee strike was there, and you're not going to go ahead and continue with the rest of the drop, then that'll work just fine. Okay, those are great alternatives to the full compression on your leg on that. Okay? All right, and otherwise, force feed yourself a split. I'll see you next week. Chip. Thank you for teaching.
Teaching me.
Thank you for teaching.
Woo!